My name is Rajan Narayanaswamy. I'm a teacher of yoga, meditation, and study. I moderate study groups in which we talk about some of the scriptures, especially the Eastern scriptures from the East. And I've also had a career as a satellite rocket scientist and also been a IT professional for a long time. My background is in physics. I did my PhD in physics. And the reason I'm mentioning all this is because I like to take an approach of the scientific approach to all these topics that we're talking about. And the scientific approach is one of keeping an open mind and not rejecting anything, but trying to explore for oneself whether it's true or not. If you hear anything anywhere, try to explore for yourself. And that's the spirit in which, I want to make my presentation. Because personally, I have used these techniques a lot in my life and have benefited from them a lot. And I will try to explain in what way it benefits also. Uh, in this webinar, we heard from some wonderful speakers, and they have so many different ways of expressing their views and different techniques and so on. I want to touch on focusing on a very important but lesser known aspect of our persona. And I will lead you through this step by step so that you can understand what exactly I'm trying to point out. This persona is often called the inner self, and connecting with this inner self really helps us grow stronger. So, let me ask you one thing. When you're actively using your senses, let's say you're having some food, you're tasting the food, or you're watching something on TV or a movie you're watching, then your senses are active, very active, and you're identified with your senses at that time. When you're thinking something, like you're analyzing some problem or trying to understand something, then you're using your mind and you're identified with the mind. But if you sit very quietly and be very quiet with eyes closed and without thinking about anything, what are you identified with at that moment? This is what we are asking you to try and explore. Let me ask this question in another way. If you're sitting still with eyes closed for some time, your body and senses seem to disappear. As the thoughts die down, your mind also seems to disappear. Then what remains? And the answer to that, if you think about it a little bit, the answer to that is you remain. In spite of the senses having dropped, the body not being felt, and the mind being silent, not generating much thoughts, you still remain. Or another way to put it is your sense of presence remains. Your sense of presence means the fact that you're here, the fact that you're present remains. And if you notice, there is no off switch for that sense of presence. You cannot be not present at any moment, because if you want to say that I should not be present for 10 seconds, you have to be present to even say that. So at this point, I'll request Leah to show my slide, and I will explain a little bit further the background for the technique that I'm trying to describe. Okay, now if some of you cannot see the slide, the font is too small, you can maximize that screen and try to see it better. But I will read this out for you anyway. So, when all vibrations and movements in the mind are stopped, we reach a kind of silence. But silence has its levels, and that's what is being talked about here. If you decide to just sit quietly, you may reach a silence level of, say, 3 or 4. I'm just giving some numbers for comparison. 3 or 4 out of 10. But if you add a technique to it, which I will describe, one of the techniques, certain yogic practices can take you to the deeper levels of silence, like 8 or 9 out of 10. This deeper silence is the core of creativity and intelligence. When you abide in this deeper silence for some time, transformation happens and awakens your higher intelligence. So, thanks for the slide, Leah. Now, see, so I want to go into this little bit, what this deeper silence actually means and what it does for us. If you go to a deeper silence, then you somehow connect with a source of higher intelligence. Excuse me. See, sometimes in our lives, we are stuck with some problem, and out of the blue, you get the solution for it somehow. Or at the last minute, when just a little time is left to take care of that, you somehow get some kind of inner, like a lightning, flash of lightning in your head or something, which gives you the solution to this. Now, where did that come from? It came from the very source that we're talking about. The source of each one of us is something very divine and beautiful and very, very powerful. Not powerful in the way that, like a king is powerful to conquer a kingdom or something. It is powerful in the sense that in our helplessness, it helps us to get out of our helplessness. And now, the technique that I'm going to be describing is one such technique. Okay, there are many, many techniques, and it's good to practice a variety of techniques in your life. But the basic idea is to take you to a deeper silence. And this deeper silence is to be experienced, as I said, to explore by yourself. And I will give you one example from my life. Anna is also aware of this, that I've written a lot of articles in the beginning for Wellness Universe. Um, when I used to write these articles, I used to get stuck in some places, okay, how do I write the next paragraph or something? And then in the meditations, in the complete silence, this creativity used to appear to me. That okay, you should express it like this. And that's what I mean by saying this is the core of creativity. See, everything we create is coming from a very deep place. The mind is the place where it expresses itself, but actually it comes from a very deep place, from the divinity within us. And if you spend time in silence, in the deeper silence, not just in regular silence as I call it, then you somehow connect with this source of creativity. And your creativity comes out and expresses itself in your in your actions or in your creations or in the work that you're doing and so on. So one of the techniques in yogic practices, in not yoga means not the exercise part, that's also important. That also has a big role in all this. It should go with that. So you do the exercises, you do the breathing practices as a regular practice, but you add this is the power of sound. So if you have a sound followed by a silence, and then the sound followed by the silence, and then the sound followed by it goes on for some time, it takes you deeper and deeper into the silence. So every time you make this sound, the next silence is deeper. So if you do this, if you make a chant or a mantra or some simple chant that sound that we're going to make today, is called the sound. So if you just close your mouth and the if you close your mouth, you join your lips, then there's only one sound you can make, which is there's no other sound you can make. Try it and see. That's called the makara sound. The makara sound is very powerful. There is also a ah sound which you make with your mouth open, but I'm not going to be teaching that. But that's also very powerful. Dr. Wayne Dyer, the famous self-help and spiritual teacher, used to talk about that a lot. So ah, and then the silence. We'll do the ma and the silence. So you just have to hum. I will just demonstrate. And pause. And just be there. There is no analysis or anything here. You're just being present in that silence. And you will notice, if you practice this for some time, that you're able to go into a different type of silence, which you can actually feel the power of that silence. It's a silence which has a different flavor compared to the normal silence that we generally experience in sleep or in just in relaxation techniques or just sitting quietly somewhere. So let's practice this for the next few minutes. Just sit somewhat straight as you can. Do not struggle too much with that. Just sit normally, as straight as you can, keeping your spine straight. And all you're going to do to take a deep breath, keep your lips together, and make the humming sound. Focusing on the eyebrow center. That means the space between the eyebrows. You're focusing from inside there. You're looking at the eyebrow center, but not looking for anything. You're just looking there. Your focus is there. And we'll do this 10 times, and we will have a pause of about 3 to 4 seconds in between the 10 the 10 times. Okay, and at the end we'll just be in silence for about 1 minute, being very, very silent. Okay. Just be here. Whatever this silence means to you, just be there. Another deep inhalation and humming.
The last one. After this, we will remain in silence for about 1 minute. Okay. And you can slowly open your eyes and don't have to do anything more. Just get going with your normal life after this. Excuse me. Then you will find through repeated practice that this definitely helps you to connect with this higher intelligence, which guides you somehow in making your decisions in life, and also, as I said, creativity.